I feel wrong. I can't say howdy, partner. This feels weird. I'm by myself this week. So, Hunter is at Silver Dollar City with his family. So it's just Nick solo in his hotel room at Stella Nova Resort here at Universal. And I can look out my window and see Epic Universe. I spent the whole day at Epic Universe today. I'm here for work. Had a great time today. Epic Universe is it's going through some weird like closures. The rides have been closing down a lot the last couple of days. It's in tech rehearsal, so they're working on a lot of things right now. But yeah, so it's been interesting to navigate. It's been interesting to kind of check out. But yeah, Hunters at Silver Dollar City with the family this week. So I'm doing the episode solo. And fun fact, it is past midnight on May 9th, which means it's officially my birthday, and you are all celebrating with me. So, woohoo! Nick's ideal way to celebrate his birthday is not sitting in a hotel room by himself. That's for sure. But here we are. And I also like for those of you that are watching on YouTube, I wanted to try to turn myself because the the what's behind the beds is much more interesting than what you all are seeing behind me right now. It's just a plain wall. But Selanova is actually it's a really cool resort. All of the rooms here have two queen beds. It's within walking distance. It's about a 10-minute walk to Epic Universe, but there's a walking path to Epic, and it's nice. I really like. I enjoy this hotel. I think it's a great option. It feels clean. It feels fresh. It opened in January. But yeah, so there's just a little bit of info about where I'm at and what I'm doing currently. But I this week on Instagram, I submitted a question box for all of you guys to go in and submit questions for me. So I am just going to kind of jump right into it and dig into some of these questions. It probably won't be a very long episode this week. We'll have a lot to unpack with Hunter when he gets back from Silver Dollar City next week, and then the week after that, he and I will be here together at Epic Universe as well. So lots of fun content coming you guys' way. And I just appreciate all the love and support. I also just wanted to say thank you so much for all the support on the YouTube channel. I'm so excited. I've officially launched my YouTube channel, and I am having a blast with that. The second video has been posted, and it was the boys and I's day at Hollywood Studios for May the 4th. We had a really good time together, and I hope you guys are able to enjoy all of that. I'll put the link for that video in the description down below for those watching on YouTube as well. But if you're just listening, definitely go check it out. Okay, jumping into some of these questions. Also, just another like a personal update for you guys. Francie is doing well. Zoe is getting closer and closer to being here. We have our scheduled date of arrival. So Francie will have a scheduled C-section, and we have that date. Not going to share it with everybody. Keep that one to ourselves for sure. But we're looking at the middle of June, and she will be here. And it's mind-boggling to me. It's pretty wild that we're getting closer and closer to that. The nursery is like really taken shape over the last couple of weeks. I'll be sharing all of that on my Instagram, but we're very excited about that. The house is finally starting to come together, which is cool. And we had an incredible baby shower last weekend. We felt so celebrated and so loved by our friends and family. And yeah, it's mind-boggling that we're here. Like, I've been thinking a lot about like where was life at for me last year and what is life like this year. And last year around this time, I was at Disneyland with Hunter, and I was dealing with really terrible anxiety and dealt with a lot of anxiety after that trip. It was just a rough place. I was not like my best self. I was a little bit of a shell of myself in a lot of ways. Um, and I am so thankful for where I'm at now, and just kind of like the journey that I've been on. And some of the questions that you guys asked me, will I can speak more to that for sure. But it has been just so full circle. And if you had told me last year at this time that this is where I would be, I don't think I would have believed you. I mean, I for sure would not have believed you that like we were going to have another baby, because truthfully, by the end of last year, we had gotten to a place where we were just kind of like, okay, like it's probably not going to be in the cards for us. Like, this is what our family unit looks like, and we are so blessed and so thankful for what it is. So let's roll with it. And then in October of last year, we got the incredible news that a baby would be on the way, and so I feel so blessed and so honored to be in this spot and in this position. So there, you guys submitted so many great questions. So jumping into some of the questions, I'm not going to be able to get into all of them, but I'll kind of scan through and speak to that. So this one is a pretty good transition. What are you most excited about? What are you most excited for about becoming a girl dad? I'm excited for a new adventure. Like, we've been doing the boy thing for a while now. You know, like, Luke is going to be 9 this summer, and they are amazing. Both Ethan and Luke are my buddies. Like, we have such a blast. They're so different in their personalities, and we connect differently, but also just have so much fun, all of us together. Um, I think I feel like I have a pretty good grasp on what it's like to be a boy dad now at this point. So it's going to be a fun new adventure to figure out what it looks like to have a little girl. I am an emotional human being. I'm an emotional dude. I'm a very sensitive man, and so I feel I feel confident. Um, you know what? Here's a little like real talk for a second. I almost feel more confident in being able to like emotionally show up for my daughter than you know, maybe I do for my boys. You know, I think like you show up for every child differently, but I wasn't a very like athletic kid growing up, and Luke loves sports. He wants to play all the things, and so I think in some ways as a dad, I have moments where I'm like, am I good enough for this? You know, I think we as parents we ask ourselves, are we good enough on a regular basis? But I think that there's more insecurities there, like than I would have being able to emotionally connect, and not that it's not necessary to emotionally connect with my boys as well. I think it's critical and important for sure. Um, it's important and critical to emotionally connect with all of your children, but um, yeah, my sister and I had a very close relationship growing up, and I always sort of I don't want to say I was like like a father figure for her because I wasn't. We have a great dad, but in some ways I loved to show up for her and like take her. We used to have brother sister dates and go see movies together and just like hang out and do all kinds of fun things. And I think that in some ways I kind of envision a similar relationship with Zoe. Like, I can't wait for her and I to just like in the same way that I do with my boys, but just to regularly have such a blast together. And I think that there's just going to be a special bond there. And I know that because I have a special bond with each of my children. But yeah, I can't wait to be a girl dad. Like, she already has me wrapped around her finger. I can't wait for like father daughter date nights at the theme parks. And my goal is to make sure she knows how loved and valued she is. Um, because I think it's so critical as a father to do that for all of my kids. But you know, there's something special there for a little girl for sure to just have an expectation of how she should be treated and how she should be loved. And I know that like that starts with both Francie and I. But especially like, you know, one day if like what I don't know what her future looks like, but one day if she chooses to like spend the rest of her life with a guy, a man, um, which you know I'm not going to be ready for all of that. But if that's the path that is in front of her, like I want her to have an expectation for what that's supposed to look like for sure. So I got really deep there, but you guys know me at this point. That's what I do. So, um, favorite piece of clothing you have for Zoe? A lot of these questions are about Zoe, and I love that. Favorite piece of clothing you have for Zoe? A couple of things come to mind. One is I bought a Snow White onesie that hopefully she'll be able to wear after I run Dopey next year. So I'm looking forward to some fun pics with her with that. And then um, we just had a baby shower, and friends of ours bought her a Buccaneers onesie and a Buccaneers hat. And you know me, I love sports. I love football, college football, in the NFL, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are my favorite team. So I'm very excited to see her rocking that maybe at her first game. That'd be a lot of fun. And then the last one is definitely very meaningful. Francie's best friend Francie's best friend had just so happened to randomly have one of Francie's grandmother's old tablecloths. It was a white tablecloth, and Francie's grandmother passed away a couple of years ago, and they were very close. She was a very special woman, loved her so much. But her best friend reached out to Francie's mom and asked if she could take that tablecloth and have it turned into a onesie dress for Zoe. And Francie's mom was like so on board with it, and so she surprised her and mailed her a little dress for Zoe made out of that tablecloth, which is very, very meaningful. I'm getting emotional a little bit thinking about it. And she not only did she give her a little dress, but she also had another little dress made, but it was like a miniature version, which is funny because the dress is for a baby, so it's small anyways, but this is a miniature version for a baby doll, so that Zoe can match with a baby doll as well. So it's very precious, very meaningful, and that one probably takes the cake just because of like the depth behind it for sure. Zoe has a lot of clothes already, and I feel like that's kind of like a sign of what's to come with a little girl. So looking forward to that. What are some things you're excited about for Disneyland 70th? Yeah, so much talk has been happening around Epic Universe because that's obviously such a big thing that's happening here in Orlando. But on the West Coast, Disneyland is ramping up to celebrate their 70th anniversary, and those celebrations start May 16th. So like by the time you guys are listening to this, it's this week. I'm super excited because I get to go to Disneyland at the end of the month for work, and I am excited about a couple of things. A New World of Color show sounds super enticing. I can't wait to see what that's all about. Wondrous Journeys is probably my favorite fireworks show. I love it that much, and so I can't wait to watch that again. But also Paint the Night Parade. I've never seen it, and everyone raves about it. It's been such a long time since I've seen a night parade, and I can't wait to have ours here at Walt Disney World as well. But I can't wait to see what that's all about. So feeling very blessed and thankful that I get to go see all of those things. It's going to be like get back and then have a baby. So I've got a wild couple of weeks coming up for work. I know I've talked about it, but I am like the second half of May is just so booked for me. So many fun, incredible things, but let me tell you, it's busy for sure. What Disney thing are you most excited for Zoe to experience? Bippity Boppity Boutique. I know it's going to be a while for that, but I just can't wait for that experience for her. I just think all of it. I know that's such a lame cop out answer, but like just getting to go to every park with her, especially as she starts to get older and starts to like become more and more interactive with the parks, and just like get to do it all over again, to get to like we got to watch Luke experience everything for the first time, and then we got to watch Ethan experience everything for the first time, and both of those experiences were obviously so different. So to be able to get to do it again in a completely different circumstance, it's so exciting. I cannot wait. It's going to be so much fun. Coolest thing you have gotten to do as a content creator? I have gotten to do so many cool things, and obviously a lot of that is because of work as well. Just being able to go to Epic Universe like before it opens is so special and so cool. But if I focus specifically on things that I got to do for the theme park dad, any time that I've gotten the opportunity to work with someone like Disney or Universal, it has like blown me away. Like it's such a moment of like realizing your dream come true. I think of like we did Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party with Disney a couple of years ago, and that was so special to me. Like the fact that they invited us out and asked us to come cover that event as a family was incredible. I felt so humbled the entire time that I was there. I also kind of felt imposter syndrome. Like I was like, why me? You know? And so that was really special. And then Universal has invited me out for some incredible events. Like last summer, I got to come out for the opening of DreamWorks Land and got to cover all of that and be in the room with people that I look up to with their content. Like I'll never forget sitting on the bus with Molly and Alan from Mammoth Club, and those are two people that I think are absolutely incredible, incredible because of just getting to interact with them and become friends with them, and just like our interactions together are always so pleasant and so positive. But also just I'm such an admirer of their work. Like they put so much effort into planning their videos and cranking out their content, and Molly is so incredibly smart and detailed with her information on theme parks and the things that she knows about the Easter eggs around every corner. It's just the two of them do such an incredible job with their YouTube videos, and when they're in the parks together, I'm consistently blown away by it. And so, like knowing that I was invited to an event where they were also invited and sitting like across from them and talking to them on the bus, I was just like, how is this real? You know, like why me? But so it's a blessing for sure. I consistently feel blessed and humbled by what I get to do. Best thing I've eaten at Epic so far. I really love the food in Isle of Burke, and I'm not just saying that because Burke is my favorite, but the food there is actually really delicious. I've been to Pizza Moon. It was good. It wasn't my favorite meal that I've had. Um, the food in the cafe at the cafe in and I would butcher the name if I tried to say it, but it's the cafe in Paris at the Ministry of Magic. Delicious. There's a quiche there that was phenomenal. I tried the butterbeer crepe. For me, it was a little too sweet, but I know a lot of people that have really enjoyed it. I loved the baguette sandwich that I had there. It was very tasty. It had apples on it, turkey, and like it was just the baguette was fresh and it was delicious. Um, yeah, there's so many other places that I want to try, and I'll be trying more stuff when I go to the park tomorrow. We actually have dinner reservations at Atlantic, which is a sit down restaurant inside of the park, so I'm looking forward to trying that. But I had some steam buns today that were vegetarian, and they were delicious. They were very good. So definitely some good food options for sure. I think Burke and the Ministry are my favorite. I haven't eaten anything in Dark Universe yet, but I have been on Monsters Unchained twice now. You guys would be proud of me. I don't know that that means that I'm ready for HHN by any means, but Monsters Unchained was a really good time. The animatronics in there were phenomenal, and it continues to get better and better. Like they're adding effects as they're continuing to do all of these, like the testing. Um, I don't want to spoil anything. Okay, I'm gonna spoil something. So, spoiler alert: if you want to skip this part, just skip ahead like 30 seconds. I think I can get it done much faster than that, but let's do that to be safe. So today, when I was skip now, by the way, today when I rode Monsters Unchained, um, the animatronics in there are incredible. They're all a bunch of monsters, and you see all kinds of different monsters. But one of them is like a werewolf, Wolfman, I think it's what it's called. Anyways, he bit into a vampire. It was like a female vampire, and there was like a squirt of water that hit my face, and it hit me in the eye, and I was just like, ooh. It was interesting. But anyways, welcome back everyone who skipped ahead 30 seconds. The spoilers are no longer happening. So welcome back. Um, let's see. Um, what princess would you associate baby Zoe with? I don't know. I mean, I'm gonna have to get to know Zoe first. I can't wait to like learn her personality as she continues to develop. We there's like nods to well, there's gonna be a nod to Tangled in her room, um, and then so with Rapunzel, and then we also will have we have like a little bell that's going to be in her room as well. And if she's anything like her mother, Belle and Francie are similar in their passion for books for sure. And so that'll be infant reading, and so that'll be interesting to see. But I don't know. I got to get to know her. I got to figure out like who she is, what her little personality's like. If I had to pick a princess that I would love for her to be like, I want to say Moana, although Moana definitely like went against her father's wishes and like went on this massive journey out to sea, which would stress me the heck out. I like to believe that I'd be hopefully a little bit more open minded. What do you think Zoe's first theme park will be? It'll be at Walt Disney World, I would imagine. Um, where at Walt Disney World? I'm not quite sure. Luke's first park was Magic Kingdom. I think Ethan's first park was, I think it was Magic Kingdom as well, although it technically could have been Animal Kingdom. I don't remember. I need to go back and look. Um, but probably Magic Kingdom. It's just iconic, it's classic. And probably we'll ride like a dark ride or Dumbo with her. Those are just kind of like, I know it's so basic, but it's just the vibes. um, what are some names you considered instead of um, Zoe? There were a few different, but I mean we went through different ones for sure. Francie loved like some like older names, and then there's meaning behind Zoe as well, which I won't get into all of that. Some of that stuff is like personal, but there's definitely meaning behind it. And then her, um, I'm trying to remember some of the other names that we had talked about. I don't know. We've been so like locked in on Zoe for so long, and it didn't take long for us to figure that out. So I'm sorry, but I don't remember. It's just been Zoe. Like we picked it so quickly. Francie, but like I said, Francie liked a lot of like older names. But she actually is the one I think that said Zoe first, and I was just like, yes, that's my favorite that she had said. Um, if you only have one day in Epic, if I only have one day in Epic, do I try and see every land a little or commit to two or three lands fully? So, fun fact at Epic, they're not called lands, they're called worlds, which I know is so detailed and specific, but just in case you wanted to like refer to them as worlds, you can. Um, I This is a tough question for me because it kind of depends on what your preferences are. Like, I don't know what you're passionate about. Um, if you, I think they're all worth seeing for sure. And I think if you're strategic with it, you could get enough time in each one to appreciate each one. Now, when Luke and I came and had our day together, if you've watched that YouTube video, we barely got to do anything in Dark Universe, and partially because we were not like in a rush to get over there. I didn't know like what it would be like for Luke to experience that world. When we went, it was nighttime and it was more intimidating for him, for sure, than if we had gone during the day, having now been there a couple of times during the day. So, um, my gut and my personal preference would be to experience each of the worlds because each of them are so different. They're the same. They're all the same in that they're so immersive, but they're different. Obviously, totally different experiences. And so, I think if you go into each world and figure out what are some of the most important things to you within that world, and then like focus on that, realizing that you might not be able to like do all of it, then I think you'll be in good shape. Like for me, some of the biggest wins from each of the worlds. Hiccup's Wing Gliders at Isle of Berk. That coaster is so much fun. It's going to be just like the sleeper hit for sure from Epic Universe. And like, I was very excited about it and I was looking forward to it a lot. But I think that a lot of people that will experience it will be like, whoa, I didn't anticipate that. I mean, it's nothing like Stardust Racers, it's nothing super grand, but it's just a really good, fun family coaster. I also would prioritize meeting Toothless if you can, but that wait time does tend to get pretty long. Consistently I've been seeing it at about an hour, and it's true to the wait time. So definitely budget some time in for that if that's a high priority. But meeting Toothless is just iconic. Those would be like the two top priorities for me at Isle of Berk. Um, and then I would say in Super Nintendo, if you want to get a power up band, they're $40. I would have some fun playing some of the games with a power up band for sure. Mario Kart is a fun ride, but actually Yoshi is really solid. It's a dark ride, and usually the wait time's not very long, so it's fun to just be able to go experience that, sit for a little while. It is nothing like mind blowing or anything like that, but it's just a fun little ride. And then Minecart Madness is a good time. but it definitely is. It's jerky, like people say, but I had a lot of fun with it. I wrote it at night, so what I would prioritize there, honestly, probably Minecart Madness, because I just love a fun coaster. And then in Dark Universe, Monsters Unchained for sure. The wait times have not been terrible for that, so hopefully that trend continues, and I think it will. I think once we see a lot more families go into the park, I think a lot of families are going to be a little apprehensive about taking their kiddos onto that attraction, so the wait times may not always be super long for that. And I don't blame families for being apprehensive about it. Like, every kid is different, every kid's tolerance for fear is different, and every kid has different interests. I know there's kids that enjoy Universal Monsters. But for my boys in particular, especially for Luke, he tends to be fearful of things for sure, and so we won't be riding that anytime soon. It'll be a while before Luke is riding Monsters Unchained. So yeah. Would you go to HHN if you went with Tim? I don't know. I'm not sold on HHN. I'm just not an HHN guy, and that's okay. I don't. The the creative components behind it seem incredible. It seems like, and I can admire like all of the detail that like the team members put into it. Universal Creative does an excellent job with it every year from all the coverage that I see, but I personally just don't have a desire to be there. So we'll see. Maybe one day I'll try it out, but as of right now, I'm good. Favorite theme park memory from your childhood? So the first thing that pops into my head is there was a night when I was at Magic Kingdom with my siblings and my cousins, and we did the mountain challenge where we watched fireworks, and then we were like, all right, let's see if we can ride all three of the mountains before park close. And so we did. We like did Space Mountain and then booked it to the other side of the park to do Splash Mountain and Thunder Mountain. And I remember like being so excited and having so much fun, like getting like to the other side of the park before park closed. But I have so many childhood memories at the parks for sure, so it's hard for me to pick just one. That's the thing that just pops into my brain right away. What is your favorite part about being a content creator? Just, getting to meet so many people. Like, whether it's some of you all who listen to the podcast or follow me on Instagram, getting to meet you at the parks is just so much fun always. I love getting to talk to everybody. I love getting to know everybody. I love hearing your stories and what your passions are about the parks, or how you connect with my story, whether it's with a love for certain things at the parks, or on a deeper level, whether you struggle with anxiety as well, like, or have walked through infertility. Like, there's so many ways that, like, by me sharing my story and connecting with you all through the computer or the internet, it's been really special to be able to meet so many of you. That's one of my favorite things in the world, because it makes all of this worth it. It makes like what I do, and how I'm so intentional behind what I do, worth it. Challenging, being so vulnerable on the internet, because when I'm that vulnerable on the internet, I'm opening myself up to that much more commentary, and sometimes it sucks. Like, sometimes there are days where I just am like, I want to quit. Like, and that's just me being real. It gets to the point where it's just like, I choose to put my life out there, and I choose that for sure. But because I open myself up to that, it's not fair how certain people respond to that at times. It gets ugly, and it is exhausting, and it's frustrating, and it can be so unmotivating at times as well. But you can't let like one troll comment outweigh so many other supportive and positive and kind messages. It's hard not to, transparently, sometimes, but yeah. So I think that's probably one of the hardest parts of navigating being a content creator, is just like navigating people's opinions of me. because I am so eager to make everybody happy around me. I'm a people pleaser, and so and I've grown a lot in that. I've grown a lot in the sense that I'm just like, well, I am who I am, and that's not going to be for everybody, and that's okay. But it's taken me a long time to really like not understand that concept, but really like accept that concept. I've always known it, but it's hard knowing that I'm not for everybody, and because part of me wants to be like, well, how do I become that? And the realistic thing is that I never will be. So, um, something fun to watch while recovering from surgery. Andor. Andor has been so good this season. If you've never watched Andor, first of all, go watch Rogue One if you've never seen that, and then watch season 1 of Andor, and then now watch season 2 because it has been so good. Episodes 8 and 9 were like such good Star Wars. Like it is so good. Um, let's see. If you could live in a land in any theme park, what land would it be? Immediately, Isle of Berg pops into my head. Um, but yeah, that's up there for me for sure. Galaxy's Edge would be a lot of fun. Um, I've always loved Tomorrowland at Magic Kingdom. I know that's super random because I do think like it needs some updating, but I love Tomorrowland. Um, yeah, those are probably some of my favorites. I feel confident in that. Can you talk about what helps you when your anxiety is bad? I've recently cut caffeine. Well, kudos to you for cutting caffeine out. I think that definitely helps. It makes a big difference. I have not had caffeinated coffee since last year. It's been a year now. And I've implemented like a little bit of caffeine here and there. I get it through I drink Zevia, like cola Zevia. It's a very low amount of caffeine, and so or teas, green teas, stuff like that. I've had like I've had decaf coffees for sure because I love the flavor of coffee, but I think caffeine intake, watching your caffeine intake and monitoring that makes a big difference in terms of your anxiety. I think making sure that you're sleeping well makes a big difference in terms of your anxiety. Exercising, like taking care of yourself and your body, is huge for sure in struggling with anxiety. I think positive self talk is a massive component to struggling with anxiety. I think like if you remind yourself that you're safe and you're okay, and and you know like that everything's going to be okay, like repeating that to yourself is huge. And also just waking up in the morning and looking in the mirror and tell yourself things that you're proud of for yourself. And I think the more positive affirmation that you can get can also be super beneficial when you struggle with anxiety, because I think sometimes anxiety can lead to a place of self doubt, and that's hard. I know for me personally, I can relate to that like immensely. So I'm sorry that you struggle with it, but I hope that you are able to continue to implement like certain tools and tactics. Also, like talk to a therapist. I when I was at like the peak of what I was going through, I sought um, help with therapy, and it made such a difference for me. And so I think that that's huge as well. I'm thankful that I think we're finally getting to a place in society where there's less of a stigma associated with therapy, um, because it like everybody should do it. I should be more consistent with it personally. I think there's beauty behind it for sure. So um, I hope that you're able to take care of yourself. I am so proud of myself for where I've come with anxiety. I still struggle. Like last night, I was super anxious. It doesn't go away completely, but learning how to manage it makes the world of a difference. So I hope you're able to get there. Um, what age was your favorite age to be? That is such a good question. I look back. I love. I mean, I'm so grateful and thankful for where I'm at, obviously, and that's such a cop out answer. But I truly like. I have an incredible wife. I have incredible boys. I have a little girl on the way. So like, I couldn't take anything away from like where I'm at right now, which I'm 40 minutes into my 34th birthday. So, but I think I think, you know, like what are some of my fondest memories? Probably I have some good ones of college for sure, but I think high school. Like I loved high school so much. It's such an awkward time for sure, but like I had such good friends and we just had so much fun together and I have so many memories from that stage of my life. So, if I could go back and relive a day, it would probably be in high school. Um, how does it feel to start vlogging? And thanks for that, by the way. Well, you're welcome. Thank you for listening or watching and supporting. I am excited. I can't wait. I've been wanting to vlog for so long now. Like I've talked about it with you guys for a long time. I talked about it on that tracks, like wanting to start my own YouTube channel, and I'm finally doing it. And I wish that I was at a place in my life where I could do more than one video a week. But I'm super thankful that that's where I'm at, and that's what I get to do. And so I'm so grateful for the support so far. But I'm excited. It doesn't feel totally like a natural to me because like I've been doing content creation for so long and I've been a part of vlogs. I've been on Tim's vlogs before. I do vlogging, not me personally, but I'm on vlogs for work sometimes, so it doesn't feel like abnormal to me. Um, but it's fun to be able to like own it myself, for it to be my thing is very fun and very exciting. Is your faith important to you or a part of your life? Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it definitely is the way that I live my life for sure. I always want to be super respectful when I communicate about my faith because I am a Christian and, I think unfortunately that can yield a lot of like negative connotations in today's society and it comes with a lot of associations that I don't want to represent or am not proud of. I think a lot of people have been burned by a lot of Christians in the past, and that makes me really sad. And it makes me frustrated because it's like anti what I believe we're supposed to be doing on this planet, which is one of our greatest commandments is to love everyone, and everyone means everyone, and there's no stipulations to that. So. But it's the way that I live my life. It's how I ground myself for sure. Like I am put on this planet to love those around me and to love my God. And yeah, I I am super super thankful for my faith for sure. It gives me meaning when I wake up every morning. But I never want to be someone that like throws my faith into people's faces. I always want to be super respectful to everybody around me because I want everybody to know that they're loved. so, um, but yeah, favorite to merch, favorite merch to buy at a theme park. I'm a sucker for merch in general. I like T-shirts, but I have way too many of them. I say that, but I bought a T-shirt for me to specifically wear tomorrow when we're at Burke. So oops. But I just love merch in general. There's always so many fun and cool things to see. But probably t-shirts are one of the things that I most often buy at theme parks. Um, let's see. So many questions about Zoe, which I love. Have you ever been to Busch Gardens in Williamsburg, Virginia? No, I haven't. Never been. Maybe I'll go one day. We'll see. Dollywood is up there on like the list of the places that I'd like to visit soon. Um, and it's more accessible to me than maybe some of the other parks. Um, Hunter definitely wants me to come out to Texas to do some of the attractions out there, to go to Six Flags and some of the other stuff out there. So I'll have to get out to Texas eventually as well. Um, let's see. You're a busy guy these days. When do you sleep? Great question. I should definitely be sleeping right now, but here we are. I really have been so busy lately and I have not been sleeping enough. So I definitely need to pace myself a bit, but there's just so much going on, but it's such a blessing. How's your grandpa doing? He's doing okay. He it's such an interesting and strange thing because he's doing okay, yes, but definitely we don't know how much longer we have with him, which is a weird stage to be in. He still absolutely is my grandpa. Like he is very much there and aware and getting around and moving around. But we feel blessed for the time that we have with him, and he's just got some serious heart things going on. He's no longer in the hospital; he's at home. But yeah, so he's doing okay. I mean, okay as someone can be who is 90 years old and who has some serious heart conditions happening. So, um, after all your time in the parks, what's your favorite way to relax? Probably watching TV. um, yeah, that's where I can kind of just like escape to another world, depending on what I'm watching. Which it's just nice. It's nice to be able to chill and do that. Um, you know what? One of my favorite things is if you're on like a Disney trip or even at Universal or wherever you are, having like a full day at a theme park and then going back to your hotel and like turning on a Disney movie and just like chilling. It is that is like perfect. You get like you've taken a shower, you get into your cold bed, you turn on a Disney movie, and it's just like quintessential relaxation for sure. Um, last one. This is the last one that I'll do. It's dealing with anxiety and how to not let that affect both your personal and professional life. We'll end it on a deep one. And I know I kind of already talked about this for sure, but yeah, how to not allow it to affect your personal and professional life. I guess my thing is that it's going to. And I think you have to be okay with that. And I think that the people around you have to be okay with that at times as well. Like, anxiety sucks. And it affects everything. It affects your professional life because there's days where you're just like not there mentally, and I think that that is very challenging because you have to be there sometimes. I think taking care of yourself is important and critical, and communicating what's going on is important and critical. I myself have had to communicate in my role and in my job, like, hey, I'm super anxious right now, just so you have an understanding of what's going on. This is where I'm at, and not everybody might understand that, and not everybody might respect that, but you have to be real and you have to be authentic and you have to be upfront and honest about like what you're going through. And then in terms of it affecting your personal life, absolutely it's going to affect your personal life. You know, I think one day Hunter and I could have more of a conversation on this, but like when I went through what I went through back last year at Disneyland, it affected Hunter and I's friendship. Um, he had never seen a panic attack before. He had never seen anxiety like I had had anxiety. And so he was very taken aback. Like, not in the moment, he was great, but later, you know, I don't think he knew how to like handle it. Not that you have to handle it, but it's like it affected things. And we'll get into that conversation more one day. But um, you know, it affects my ability to relate and to connect with my kids at times. They know when dad is anxious, and I try to communicate with them about it, but in a very respectful way to them as well, because I don't want them to like I don't want to take their innocence away. I want them to have a realistic understanding of what happens in the world around them, and I want them to be like familiar with mental health, but I don't want them to be so familiar that like I guess like I said, and I don't want to take their innocence away. Like I want them to have a little bit of that in their life as well, and so I don't want them to feel bogged down by dad's burdens, and not that I think that they will, but you know, you just have to like navigate that carefully as well. It affects my relationship with Francie sometimes. I mean, Francie and I have a very strong, very good relationship. We are both so good at communicating with each other, and I've experienced anxiety since I think I have experienced anxiety for a lot of my life, but I first started experiencing like panic attacks when I was in college, and it wasn't until recently that Francie first started to have panic attacks herself. It was within like the last couple of years, and I think that like un- I wish that she never had to experience that, but I think that because she did, she connected with me and related to me on a different level, and have had a different understanding of what I was experiencing in those moments. Um, so I think it all comes down to communication and you communicating like what's going on, how you're feeling, and you don't have to have a why because we don't always have a why with anxiety. Sometimes it just comes upon us. But I think like communicating how you're feeling and then surrounding yourself with people who will show up for you, setting realistic expectations for people who will show up and people who won't, is critical for sure. Like, I have an expectation that everyone's going to show up the way that I would show up for them, and that's just not how the world works. And I'm a pretty awesome friend. Like, I love hard and I love the people in my life very deeply. And so it is hard for me to realize that not everybody thinks about others the way that I can think about others, because that's just like how I'm hardwired. And so yeah, that sucks sometimes for sure. Um, not that what I'm doing is the right way. It's just how I'm hardwired, and other people are not hardwired the same way as me. So, um, anyways, going back to the anxiety thing, I think like if you can be honest with yourself first and foremost, it's so critical. And I'm not a doctor, I am not a psychologist. Like, ultimately, get professional help for sure. But I think if you can be super honest with yourself and where you're at, and do a lot of self reflection, and then take that information to people that you trust and people that you know are going to lift you up and support you, and like just really just be there for you and show up for you, it makes the world of a difference for sure. So, but yeah, it definitely has an effect in all avenues of life. And I think like the ways from that I've been able to counteract that effect is to just be straight up and transparent with the people in my life, whether it's professional or personal, about what's going on with me. So, thank you guys. I appreciate it. I was able to get almost an hour out of this, and so this has been cool. Thank you guys so much for your questions. I know I wasn't able to get to all of them, but I do have a couple other things that I have to get done. I've got to finish uploading the YouTube video that you guys hopefully have watched by now, for May the 4th, and then go to bed because I have another full day at Epic tomorrow, and it's my birthday. So, appreciate you guys. Have a good one, and we will see you soon.